In 1993, my father, his uncle, created the Ultimate Fighting Championship to showcase the effectiveness of Gracie's jiu-jutsu to the world. Now that every professional fighter has added it to their arsenal, we want to break down precisely how they're using it so you can add it to yours. Guys, as you may have noticed, we have a new professor today. Holland Gracie, my cousin, the son of Gracie, the shark of the Gracie family. The shark.
Some could call him that. Yeah.
Check it out. When in doubt, check out the Gracie patch. You guys, we're here today to keep it real. UFC 126. Fun fights. Some good jiu-jitsu moments in there. Some good jiu-jitsu moments. Especially in the Carlos Rocha, Jake Ellenberger fight. And in the John Jones fight. Good stuff. Let's break it down.
Let's do it.
Carlos Rocha. He lost by split decision. However, tough fight. Great jiu-jitsu moments in the first round. Transitions. Side mount. Mount. Back to side mount. Back to mount. Very fluid. Top control. Very impressive. But there was one move that I think is worth breaking down for sure. And that is that very unique Americana / Kimura that he tried from the bottom of the turtle position. Okay? So Rocha shot in. Okay, or they ended up in the scramble. He ended up shooting, and his opponent Jake sprawled pretty well here, and he ended up putting his arm here around the body, this overhook, right? And then Rocha did something very amazing. Let's go ahead and demonstrate it one time through. He grabbed the wrist, he locked it, he stepped his leg through, boom, pressure on the elbow right here, roll from here. Jake started defending. Rocha walked around backwards to the side mount. He ended up in this Americana from the side mount situation. Now, fortunately for Jake on the bottom, he was able to go back to the thumb, how Carlos had it, right? Jake was able to extend this arm away right here, okay, and keep his arm somewhat safe. And that really saved him. What else saved him was his hand under the hip right here, okay? A very common response to the Americana is this extension. And it makes it hard for Holland to twist my arm down and break it there, okay? So that extension definitely slowed things down. And man, what made the extension possible to a certain degree was the thumb full grab right there. C-clamp, see the Holland's thumb under there? That thumb, it makes it a little bit weaker of a grip. But the reason he had to use that thumb was from the initial setup, from the bottom of the turtle, he needed that thumb to make the lock happen and make the roll happen. But if he would have went no thumb here on the wrist and sucked it in real tight, then he might have been able to apply, some pressure here on the Americana. And you'll also notice how Holland brought both of his knees rotated. Look at Holland's knees right now. He went from the sprawl out. He went from there to bringing the knees really tight, squeezing. Like if you guys could, I wish you guys were in my position right now so you could feel this. Holland's elbows and his knees are both pinching my body so tight. There's like a sandwich here of my body inside here. So he's holding that and he slides down and he twists. But yeah, that was challenging because his arm was so extended. He really could never get the arm in the way he wanted. Another detail we could try here is if the arm fully extends, Holland goes no thumb. Boom, for this extended Americana. He puts his elbow under my elbow, he pins it down, and now he fulcrums the elbow north, hyperextending it there as well. Also a good move. A little slippery, sometimes hard to catch, but good nonetheless if they're very extending on the elbow. Let's go back to the roll, bro. We got to explore this a little bit more. The more traditional roll from the turtle position is the one, the Kimura variation. Face her, please. So from here, if this hand is hugging the body like this, Holland grabs the wrist with the cross hand. He wraps with the Kimura style like that. This one, Sakuraba used very successfully against a lot of people, including members of the family. But he has more Kimura because he's in front and I'm behind him. And then from here, of course, he would want to roll out and face me. Boom, bring the arm back, and then pressure there. Or if I roll, go ahead. If I roll, you can come on top and make it happen from there, okay? So that's the standard variation, that Kimura roll. The problem was, or the difference was, the unique variation that Rocha was using was instead of the person being behind here, the person was in front. His opponent was in front. Rotate all the way around. So what that creates is a very interesting situation. Holland still grabs my wrist with his hand, and he still wraps the arm as if it were a Kimura, but it's not. And now all he wants to do is get this hand that's in the middle now outside his hip here as he sits through. He brings his leg through, freeze. This is one of the most interesting pressures you can feel right here. My arm is kind of almost locked straight, but it's also a little bit bent. Very awkward on my shoulder and my elbow. If Jake Ellenberger would have stayed here, Rocha would have hyperextended it right there. Keep putting it up to the sky, keep pushing it up to the sky, and it's very bad. But Jake realized this, and he got caught by surprise, big time, when he grabbed the wrist and went for this Kimura from the front variation, I guess. And as he put the pressure here, Jake had to respect, so he rolled. But when he rolled, that put Rocha right here in this situation. Okay, now rotate a little bit, Shiro. Now from here, he can put pressure right here, but it's not that amazing. It's pretty limited, especially because Jake brought his hand in to start defending, maybe cross face, maybe grab the hands. But in response, Rocha walked all the way around, kept the lock, and got to here. Now, and then he went back to what we talked about. Extended arm, made it kind of challenging. What Rocha could have done here also, if this hand wasn't so intelligently blocking the hip the way Jake did, one thing I use here very often is as the person's extending out of the side mount Americana, which is very common that they extend out of this, you slide one knee over to the mount, boom, and they keep extending. You bring it around the head all the way, boom, you invert the other leg, and then you spin, and you catch. Very good move. But it didn't happen. Why? Rocha was going to do that for sure. For sure, no questions asked. Why didn't he? Blocking the hip. Jake did a really good job. Any other details you think are pretty unique on this one? What do you think of it?
Sometimes in the moment things happen the way they do, and it seems like they all did the best they could to make it survive.
Yeah, clearly Jake did something right. He survived. It was a great technique, very surprising technique and unique variation from Carlos Rocha. But man, Jake did the right thing. Blocked the hip, very persistent, very strong defense there, and he got the decision. John Jones.
Yeah, tough battle.
Super. Listen to this. The incredible, of course. Some amazing moments in that fight as well. But the ones we want to focus on was one very unique situation from a similar position that. Now we're talking John Jones and Ryan Bader. Ryan ended up in the half guard under. Yeah, it was right here. A lot of half guard in that fight. And every time I ended up in the half guard, Ryan had very deep underhook, and he was very persistent about getting up right now. Like he wanted to get up. So as he finally got his leg out, he got up to his knees right here one time, and as soon as he did, John sprawled here very heavily, and Ryan started hugging his leg right there. That leg right there. John, you couldn't see from the angle of the camera, but he did something that he was very successful at earlier in the fight, which is he underhooks this arm, he pins the head, and he grabs his own wrist right here. Okay? And what he's trying to do, go back for a sec, what he's trying to do is pin the head in and fold the guy to lay him back down. Boom. And then possibly run back to the side mount. Go back. But the second time, the first time he was successful in the fight. The second time he went for it, Bader's head was a little bit more alert, aware, didn't let it go in so easily here, didn't let the wrap happen, and he had this leg grab. So John was trying to sprawl, and because he couldn't stuff the head here, he would have liked to, let go of this leg, he would have liked to run around and take the back and possibly throw the hooks in and begin attacking from here, you know, and go for the close. But it wasn't happening. This hand of Bader's was so stubborn on the leg, preparing for a single leg possibly. Eventually, he would have liked to grab with both hands and kind of pull the leg in, go back. He wanted that, but it was hard because John had such a good sprawl here. Now, realizing that he couldn't run around, he did something very cool. Very cool, this step back right here. Kept pressure on the head, kept the sprawl, he put this hand on the guy's waist, on Bader's waist, and he jumped up backwards. And then Bader ran away. Go back one more time so you can see what he was trying to do. What John would have liked to, hug my leg, bro. He would have liked to do it sprawl, place on the back, because what's happening is this hand right here did stop the walk around to the south. This little hook, this attempted single leg setup here. But it stops it only this way. Jones realized that that was stopping that direction, and he said, man, I'm going to go the other way. So he put, and then the leg came over backwards. He would have liked to end it up either hooks or just on the hips right here, you know, where his original destination was, but when he spun, he stood up, and then Jones ran after him, and they ended up here. Freeze. So John chased him on his feet, got to the rear clinch, and Bader went for the standing Kimura. It was nice. He grabbed the C-clamp on the wrist, locked his own wrist, and then he turned to apply that Kimura to lay down, boom, and hopefully something like this possibly. Okay? Now the problem is, Jones was too slick for that. So as soon as Bader turned for the half guard Kimura finish, Jones put his hand on the ground, and he started putting pressure this way, and made the hand too stuffed, too trapped to be ripped out and pushed up. So this pressure right here, eventually Bader gave it up, and then they kind of went back to the scramble, you know? Now, let's get to the submission. This nasty guillotine. Nasty. Man, it was so nice. Guillotine from the half guard. What's interesting is John Jones got Bader's number. He figured him out. He realized that every time they're in the half guard, he's turning on his side. Bader kept turning. Land your feet over here, please. Yeah. So every time they get in the half guard, in the second round, 420 in the second round, Bader got back to his underhook. John was underhooked, overhooked over here. John grabbed the head, stuffed it in, got control of the neck, stuffed it in, and he got the Darce choke right here. Okay? Now, the Darce choke works more effectively when the person is on their side or a little bit pressured in. You want to grab it and you want to flatten them out and put that pressure. For some reason, the head slipped out. It wasn't possible. Now, Realizing that he was going for the Darce choke, Bader got up to his elbow to get some more pressure, because the Darce choke is very hard to finish if the person is this prone, okay, this downward facing. So what's interesting though is that when getting up in this elbow, a little more crunch, a little more, put your elbow like back a little bit, and yeah, he was like this. So he was like up, but he was kind of low. Jones realized that, look at this. This is like a guillotine gift right here. Especially when you have like 225-inch arms, right? 225-inch reach. He wrapped the neck right here. Deep elbow. Deep elbow. Yeah, he got the guillotine wrap. This underhook, though, impeded the choke finish a little bit, but Jones got this arm, he swam it in, and he grabbed. Rotate the whole thing here. Now watch how interesting. Wrap. He went from overhook to underhook. He got the wrist right here. Now there was a very interesting finish. Just prior to the actual finish, Jones went for this. He tried to bring this leverage and put it over, putting a fulcrum over the shoulder. Now, this move is not universally applicable. You need to have long arms. They need to have a relatively wrappable neck. And you have to have your elbow so deep, like not traditional here, but like way, look at my hand. Then you go in there and you grab, and then you take your wrist and you place it on top of their shoulder. And there's an incredible fulcrum right there. Yes?
Yeah.
Legit? He felt it. Because I got the wrist over the shoulder, rather than standard guillotine pull close to your body. That wasn't working though. He tried, he slipped off the shoulder 1 or 2 times. That's what Jones was going for. It's a very legit technique. Try it a couple times. Just know that if it's not applicable, it's because the arm fit, body types doesn't match. Now, instead of that, he got this, boom, he grabbed this, he tried to wedge his shoulder, he wasn't successful. Bring your hand and start grabbing my hand here. Lay down right here, lay down. So we got to here. Instead, Jones changed from this grip to palm up. He went from here to here. He had such a ridiculously deep wrap, but he was having trouble getting the leverage to pull, especially from a kneeling situation. So much of a guillotine, especially standing or when you have someone in your guard, comes from the rest of your body and the push or the stretch of the guillotine. In the half guard though, you don't have much stretch potential because you're not wrapping their body, you're not standing. So Jones did the right thing. He just tried to amplify the pressure from here, he just switched it and he shoved it up because only his arms were contributing to the choke. And to make sure he had enough northward pressure, he came here and he just pushed his fist straight up into the neck right here, like this, wedging it, and it was real tight. To make it even tighter, when it was fully intact, lay a little low here, you can lay down. When it was fully intact, he went, tried this one, didn't work. He went here, he put body pressure and laid him out.
Much tighter.
I laid him flat a little bit, and that caused almost a neck crank and the guillotine. It was very nasty. Very nice. But again, you know, with John Jones's arms, it makes sense that he can get that deep and have this success with guillotines, especially no-gi, slippery. It's like...
What does that also say on the defense? Don't be over here lounging with your neck out, right?
Have more respect from the defense, you know?
Anybody that knows a good guillotine is going to catch you right there. So.
Yeah, so Bader definitely learned his lesson, not to be sitting so aggressively in the half guard, turning in, leaving his neck out. And Jones definitely took advantage of it at the right time. So much respect to both guys, and you know, it was just, you know, incredible little battle. Incredible little battle. Good fight. So there you have it, the guillotine breakdown. From here, practice that little shoulder wedge with your wrist. It's a nice detail if you have someone who has a very skinny neck, or you have very long arms and you're having trouble cutting out the slack. Put it over, pressure. If that doesn't work and you're having trouble, come under, wedge your palm, and then push this straight up into their neck for even more pressure while you lay your body weight on them to, you know, to prevent any type of escape from there. Incredible.
Where do you get that shirt, man?
Bro, GracieAcademy.com. Where'd you get yours?
Did I get one or what?
How about this one? You guys have these in black or what?
Man, yeah, in black, everything just came out, man.
Dang, you all the nice swag. No, this is legit though, the new Grandmaster. Andy Gracie.
Can't go wrong.
Red belt, just trying to represent, you know. You guys, thanks for watching Gracie Breakdown, UFC 126, fun fights. I don't know. A guy got a call. I got a Facebook message from a guy in the Philippines, an instructor in the Philippines. He said, Henner, man, I met you a long, long time ago. I recently moved to the Philippines. I'm teaching out here. A new student recently walked in and signed up. And the instructor asked him, say, hey, where did you learn about jiu-jutsu? Where did you hear about us? And the student in the Philippines said, man, I watched one of the Gracie breakdowns. I loved it. Technique made sense. He and Henner talked about finding a school. That's how I found you. Now, this guy who is teaching in the Philippines isn't an affiliate of ours, isn't a certified training center, is just a jiu-jitsu warrior, you know, out there spreading the word. And, you know, we're just glad that we created one more student. So with this video right here, we might create one more. And then we keep going.
That's the idea, right? I mean,
yes.
Day by day.
Day by day is the way to go.